8 minutes. That's enough time to reply to a few emails or scroll through YouTube looking for something worth watching. So here's the deal. Give me those same 8 minutes, and I'm going to show you why Star Citizen isn't the game you think it is. This isn't a pitch or a defense by any means. It's just the truth from someone who tried it expecting a complete mess and found something else entirely. If you're watching this, you're probably one of two people. You're either the skeptic, the one who's seen the trailers, the memes, the drama, and decided Star Citizen is nothing more than an expensive joke, a decade of broken promises and digital NFTs. Or you're the believer, the one who owns numerous ships, logs in every patch, and still defends this game because you've seen the potential underneath the mess. Either way, here we are. And let's be real, gaming doesn't feel like it used to. Something's changed. Games still look good, they sound great, the worlds are massive, but they don't feel the same as when we were younger. That spark you used to feel, it's barely there, and I never expected Star Citizen of all games to be the one to bring that feeling back. Because on the surface, it's a complete mess, filled with bugs, microtransactions, and a steep learning curve, but beneath all of that, I found something I haven't felt in years. Not polish, not perfection by any means, but unpredictability, discovery, real moments with real people in a world that actually feels alive. It's not like other games, and that's exactly the point. Because like it or not, Star Citizen made me feel something I haven't felt in a long time. First, let's talk about the reputation. Star Citizen isn't just a game, it's a meme at this point. A decade in development, an $800 million money pit, and a tech demo where some ships cost more than your car. For years, I didn't even consider touching it. Every time I saw gameplay, it looked clunky and boring. Every Reddit thread, people were arguing, melting down, accusing each other of being brainwashed cult members. But here's the thing, if it's such a disaster, then why are people still coming back to it? Why do some gamers put in hundreds of hours, run events, roleplay as space cops, and buy ships that cost way too much? Ultimately, that's what got me curious. Not the hype, not the trailers, but the loyalty, the mystery of how a game with this much baggage still has a passionate player base. So this year I made a promise to myself, try new stuff, step out of my comfort zone. And against all logic, I downloaded Star Citizen. I went in with incredibly low expectations. All I knew about Star Citizen was that it was a huge space sim for people with more money than sense. Ships that cost $1,000, a tutorial that barely works, a dev team that's been building it longer than most people's relationships. So when I finally did install it, I was already ready to refund. Now I spent $45, that's it. No fancy upgrade packs, just the starter bundle. And right from the start, the tutorial completely bugged out. My character got stuck, couldn't even figure out how to leave the planet. Every menu felt like it needed a PhD to understand, and I was about to reset everything when I heard some voices. Actual players just talking nearby. So I walked up, said something like, "Hey, does this game ever work?" And instead of ignoring me, they laughed. Then they helped. They explained the mechanics, they told me what to avoid, warned me about the bugs and the weird server stuff, and then they just invited me to tag along. They gave me armor, a weapon, 1,000,000 credits like it was no big deal, and we grouped up, loaded in, and before I knew it, I was standing in the hangar of this massive ship, the Hammerhead, loading up for an adventure. We flew into space, warped to another system, and ran into an enemy crew. It turned into a full-on space battle, lasers flying, shields down, turrets firing. I was sprinting through corridors trying to find my place, and I didn't even know what half the buttons did, but I was just trying not to get in the way. And it felt like Star Wars, Halo, and Mass Effect all smashed into one ridiculous unscripted moment. And I realized I wasn't just playing a game. I was inside something bigger, an experience that felt unpredictable, personal, and weirdly surreal. And yeah, it was still broken, still laggy, still odd, but in that moment, I didn't care because it finally felt like I was playing a game again. Most games these days don't let you be surprised. They're built around these systems, schedules, grinds, metas. You're always chasing the next tier, the next unlock, the next dopamine drip. But Star Citizen doesn't care about any of that. It barely explains anything. It doesn't beg you to log in every day. It just drops you into a universe. Broken, buggy, massive, and says, figure it out. And that's what makes it so special. It doesn't hold your hand by any means. It doesn't reward you for doing the right thing. It rewards curiosity, experimentation, messing around and getting lost with strangers who become friends by accident. In most games, you're the main character. In Star Citizen, you're just there, part of a living, breathing galaxy. People are mining, hauling, dogfighting, crashing into planets, role-playing, all while you're doing your own thing. One minute you're struggling to find your ship, and the next you're jumping across star systems with a crew you met 5 minutes ago, chasing a distress message that might be a trap or someone who genuinely needs the help. And that level of unpredictability, it's rare now, and the best part, none of it is forced. It just happens. You might go hours without anything exciting, but then something just clicks. The mission goes sideways, you meet someone weird, a cargo run turns into a rescue op. And in that unpredictability, the game feels so alive. It's not about power fantasy, it's about presence. It makes you feel like the small piece of a bigger world, not because the devs told you to, but because the world just exists. Star Citizen gave me something I didn't know I was missing. Space to breathe, to explore, to exist. Now that was a lot of positives, but let's not sugarcoat it. This game is a big mess. The bugs are real, elevators glitch, characters T-pose, sometimes your ship just tweaks out. No reason, no warning, just boom, start over. Menus are confusing, controls are overwhelming, and half the time you're not even sure if it's a bug or just how the game works. And don't even get me started on the development cycle. It's been in alpha for over a decade. There's no clear release date, and the roadmap feels like a bingo card. Half the features you hear about are still in planning and might stay there until we're all retired. You're not crazy at all if you look at Star Citizen and think this is insane, because it is. But here's the twist. Even with all that nonsense, people still play it, and not out of obligation or sunken cost. They play it because sometimes underneath all that mess, they find something worth showing up for. And I think that's kind of the point. It's not a perfect game. It's not even a finished game, but it's the only one of the games where it actually feels like anything can happen. And in today's meta-obsessed gaming world, that's rare. Listen, Star Citizen isn't going to click for everyone. If you want something polished, consistent, or even finished, this probably isn't going to be your game, and that's totally okay. But if you're burnt out on that grind, if you're tired of doing what you're supposed to do in games, if you miss just screwing around and getting lost, then yeah, this game might just surprise you. Because it surprised me, and it reminded me of what games used to feel like before the metas, before the checklists, before everything had to be optimized and monetized and ranked. It brought back that feeling when I was a kid of just playing, of not knowing what's going to happen next, of laughing with strangers who accidentally become your crew for the night, and all of that came from a game that barely functions, which is understandably wild. So that's why I'm not here to convince you it's amazing. I'm just saying it's different, and sometimes different is exactly what you need. So no, I'm not saying everyone should rush to play this game, but maybe give it a shot. Maybe stop waiting for it to be ready. Because if you go in with low expectation, some patience, and a mindset to explore, you might just find something worth your time. So yes, Star Citizen is kind of a mess, but it's one of the only games that made me feel like a true gamer again. Not a grinder, not a min-maxer, just someone having fun. If you've been feeling burnt out, maybe this is your sign to try something weird, something different.